Hello and welcome to News Central Television, the top stories at this hour. Ondo State Governor Aiyedatiwa dissolves State Executive Council, makes key appointments. 6 sentenced to death for 2021 Ghana coup plot. Zambia further delays school reopening over cholera. Details in a moment. For our viewers across Africa and the rest of the world, this is NC Continental Prime. I am Dapo Adegboye. We begin the news in southwest Nigeria, where the Ondo State Governor, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, has nominated a former Deputy Clerk at the National Assembly, that's Olayide Adelami, as his deputy. The nomination followed the dissolution of the State Executive Council on Wednesday. A statement by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Ebenezer Adeniyan, said the name of the new deputy governor has been transmitted to the House of Assembly for approval. The governor has also approved the appointment of Tayo Oluwatuyi as the secretary to the state government. He also approved the appointment of Abayomi Olasanya as the chief of protocol. Now, both appointments take immediate effect. To discuss this further, I'm joined by Charles Oludare, a public analyst. Thank you so much for your time, Charles.
Thanks, Dapo, for having me today.
All right, interesting times again, you'd say, in Ondo State. But my first question to you is this. We are seeing, of course, a dissolution of the cabinet and also new appointments. Is this expected and is this in line?
Yes, I mean, some would say, especially the appointment of the deputy governor that is, past due, so definitely this is expected. The choice is quite interesting. And I think, the current incumbent governor probably made a long play and a smart move in making his choice, because, that is also one of the beauty of, having the power of incumbency, because we have to understand that we cannot look at these appointments in a nutshell. We have to look at it with the view of what is going to be happening in the primaries in 2-3 months' time. So I feel like, yes, it probably came as maybe not so much of a surprise, but it's still a bit of a surprise picking someone from the same town as the late Governor Akeredolu, and then by doing that, keeping his cards to his chest. I think the current governor was a smart poker player in that regard with his choice. And this man seemed to be, someone who is not a seasoned politician, so he probably didn't give himself too much trouble while giving himself time to, do the negotiations that are necessary for the upcoming election, because we have to know that he has intention, and the APC has told him there's no automatic ticket for anybody. So I believe it's in line. And also, dissolving the cabinet also was expected. Majority, almost 100% of a good percentage of the previous state executive council were not in support of him, and we can't act like we forgot all what happened leading up to the death of the former governor. So making this dissolution is expected. It shouldn't be immediately gotten, but it's about time that he starts picking his own people, and it also gives it an added leg in the game, because he is competing with some of these people in the primaries, and he is also going to need support. So from my own point of view, politically thinking, he now has a few, juicy things to offer people that he might be trying to curry favor or support for in the primaries. So, it's a lot of, those intrigues that excites me about this, movements.
Yeah, talking about the appointment, let's settle with the new deputy governor now. We know that the new deputy governor has a strong background in finance. I mean, he was once an accountant at some point. He was also strongly involved in finance when it comes to, his career path as far back as 1983. What do you think must have informed the choice of the current governor to pick Olayide Adelami as his choice candidate for that role?
To be frank and honest with you, I don't think his finance credential played any major role in it. I think it's basically a political calculation. The governor should he get the APC candidate party ticket, he has a second chance at the deputy pick. And he might not necessarily, most likely will not go with this person because of the, quote unquote zoning thing that Nigeria still practices. So, or at least that they're trying to practice in Ondo State. So he might want to go central. The former governor was from the, north. He is from the south, was the deputy governor. So he might want to go central. So what he essentially did is punt the decision of who is to be the deputy governor till after the primaries, and then just kept the status quo in terms of like picking someone, not even just from the North Senatorial District, which included Akoko and all of that, from exactly the same town as Governor Aiyedatiwa. I think the choice of this man, who is, like you said, a technocrat, a finance person, might not be of so much direct political use to him, but it's going to be a very strategic political calculation tool for him, because he has kept the Aiyedatiwa coalition to the end of Aiyedatiwa's tenure. So when he gets to pick his own for the next election, he will definitely probably pick from the central geopolitical zone. So now he has these tools in his hands to use towards getting people to vote for him in the election. So I don't think his career background plays a lot to it. Definitely, that does not discountenance the fact that the current selected deputy governor now has a lot of role to play in terms of, his experience will come to bear, but it's a short 1 year duration. I don't think his career at all has anything to do with it. That's my own opinion, at least.
All right, Charles. Now, before I let you go, what should we expect, or what do you anticipate happening in the coming weeks in Ondo State politically?
Yes, politically, now it's a very interesting thing. It's like a political football. Think about it. Governor Aiyedatiwa, getting used to it, is competing with people like Oluwatuyi, with Dimayo, Kekemeke. They are all, struggling for the same amount of delegates. They will say, your opponents will say, support me, I will make you this next year. He will say, support me, I will make you commissioner tomorrow. I will make you this now. He has that added advantage. These calculations are things that I feel like that's why the timing is everything in life and in also politics. I think choosing this particular time whereby the heat of the primary is hot, and then he can then now he has dissolved the cabinet, he has appointments to make, he has favors to other people who can support him and then give him, lead him up to the primaries and get him the ticket for the APC, which I think is going to be his overarching goal. So I think the governor was shrewd in the timing and the decision to dissolve all the cabinets. I believe that, and it's the first time in the history of Ondo State where we are going to have a first-time governor with an incumbent power. So definitely, I think this will, if used wisely, like the governor is using, can help in giving him a bit of an edge in the primaries, because I think that's what he has done. He has freed up appointments for people who will come in and support him and try to get him this primary ticket for APC. So I'm just excited to look at how the whole lead up to the primary and the post-primary period of Ondo State will go.
All right, Charles Oludare, a political, of course, analyst, joining in. Thank you once again for your time.
Thank you, Dapo, for having me.
All right. Now, Justice Inyang Ekwo of the Federal High Court in Abuja has granted bail to the immediate past governor of Anambra State, Willie Obiano. He ordered that the former governor in the southeastern Nigerian state should be restricted to the court's jurisdiction. He ordered the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to deposit the defendant's travel documents with the court registrar. Ekwo then ordered the registrar to notify the Nigerian Immigration Service of the development. The prosecution counsel, Sylvanus Tahir, has prayed the court to remand the former governor. He subsequently adjourned the case till March 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th for continuation of trial.
Directors have landed properties within the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, Then his passport, international passport, travel document was seized and was with the commission. Anytime he had reason to travel, he will apply and it will be given to him. So the court essentially adopted the administrative bail conditions that the defendant enjoyed while on administrative bail. Then additionally, since the court wasn't part of the previous bail conditions, we applied that the verification be done on the residential and business addresses of sureties. And like you know, bail is always a discretion of the court. While he was with us, to the best of my knowledge, he didn't flout any of those bail conditions. The important thing is that he should appear before the court for his trial, which is what the court emphasized.
The emergence of the first female local government chairperson in Nigeria's northeastern state of Borno has continued to generate excitement and anticipation in the area. In an exclusive interview with News Central, Ina Galadima spoke about her plans to deliver inclusive governance and promote women's active participation in politics. Now, News Central's Umaru Kerawa completes the report.
Ina Galadima's historic election as the chairperson of Jere local government area marks a significant milestone for women's inclusion in politics in Borno State. Galadima started her career in politics as a personal assistant to the wife of a former governor. She then became an advisor to the governor and later three-time commissioner. All along, she continued to explore means towards delving deep into politics. In an exclusive interview with News Central, the chairperson of Jere local government area outlined her priorities and plans to deliver dividends of democracy to her constituents.
I feel overwhelmed, alhamdulillah, with joy that I'm the first female elected chairperson to occupy the seat of the chairman of the local government area of my local government, Jere local government, Borno State, Nigeria. I feel overwhelmed, and alhamdulillah, the women of my constituency, the women of Borno State and the women of Nigeria are also very happy and very proud. My priority is education, women and youth empowerment, inshallah, and agriculture.
The council chairperson also stressed the importance of women's inclusion in politics and decision-making processes.
I just want to express my sincere appreciation to the good people of my constituency, Senator Kashim Shettima, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, for his support, His Excellency, the Governor of Borno State, Engineer Professor Babagana Umar Azir, and all my stakeholders.
She encourages collaboration and synergy between the government, community leaders and other stakeholders to collectively work towards the development of Jere local government area.
I will not put to shame this confidence that the women have bestowed on me, my party has bestowed on me. My leaders have bestowed on me. I will not put them to shame. I will, inshallah, work to the best of my ability with the prayers that I expect from my people. Inshallah, God will be our guide.
She's equal to the task. I know her, somebody who is personal and dear to me, that she can do it and she can do more beyond expectation.
The emergence of Ina Galadima as a chairperson of a local government area of Borno State serves as a testament to the possibilities available for women in the political development of the country, which can be realized through greater participation and willingness to persist. In Borno State for News Central, Umaru Kerawa.
The United States Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, has voiced hope for greater U.S. investment in Nigeria, but calls on Africa's largest economy to reassure investors that they can repatriate their funds. He said that the U.S. has a growing interest in working with and investing in Nigeria. In Abuja on Tuesday, Blinken also praised economic reforms promised by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Now, what I'm seeing and what I'm feeling is that there is growing and significant American interest here in working in Nigeria and investing in Nigeria and partnering with Nigerians. And we see now the challenges that still need to be met to make sure that this is the most inviting business environment possible. And we talked about some of them, including last night, meeting with federal government leadership, including the ability to repatriate capital, including the ongoing challenge of
In the meantime, the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has left Nigeria for the final stop of African tour to Angola. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu greeted Blinken on the tarmac before boarding his plane. Blinken toured the commercial metropolis Lagos, where he visited a complex of IT startups and inaugurated a new U.S. space showcasing American technology. Blinken's motorcade passed through the teeming streets of the city of more than 20 million before entering the sparkling complex of the 21st century technologies, where he was shown Nigeria's innovations in software and virtual reality. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Wednesday departed Abuja for Paris, France on a private visit. Special advisor to the president on media, Ajuri Nganani, in a statement said the president will return home in the first week of February 2024. On June 20th, 2023, 3 weeks after assuming office, the Nigerian leader opened his foreign schedule in the city. He last visited as president-elect Paris, the French capital. 2 refuse evacuators have been reportedly injured following an explosion at the Maitama district of Abuja. The Nigerian police, however, says the explosion which led to their injuries was not caused by an explosive ordnance, as alleged been reported on social media, but by an overheated metal refuse container. The police, via a statement by the FCT Police Command Public Relations Officer, added that a rapid response team, including several members of its explosive ordnance disposal unit, was deployed to assess the situation on ground, and their findings revealed that there was no cause for alarm. Earlier, News Central's Marvelous Obomanu joined us from the scene of the incident to give us the latest.
Is not caused by any explosive ordinance, but we don't know if that is really for sure for now, because some of the people I spoke with when I arrived at this scene said that the police anti-bomb squad and then DSS also visited the site and said they are investigating to know the root cause of the explosion. So we've not heard anything officially from the anti-bomb squad or the DSS, but just a statement released by the police that it was not caused by any explosive ordinance. But people around this area say they don't know what actually caused it. And then where I'm standing exactly is just the scene of the explosion. As you can see, some refuse scattered around the vicinity. Now there is this agency charged with the responsibility of picking waste bins around Abuja. They are called Abuja Environmental Protection Board. So in the morning around 11 officers came to evacuate some of the waste around this place. So it was at that moment they were evacuating the waste that suddenly they just saw the explosion happening, and they had to make a way to rescue themselves. But at the end of the day, 3 of their field officers were badly injured and they were rushed to a Maitama hospital, and then some commuters around the vicinity where this explosion happened were also badly injured, including vehicles. Now when you look around, just we're already losing light, so you might not really see the picture, but deep down close to that place where the video is showing, there are still signs of broken glasses and then some blood splatters on the wall to show the injury that people sustained when this incident happened. So if we are not privy to what actually caused the explosion rather. So, but maybe as the police investigates more, they can come out to tell us what actually was the cause of the explosion.
We'll go on a quick break now. When we return, we have more stories. Stay with us. Good education teaches children how to think critically, solve problems, and also make informed decisions. While some students enjoy the privilege of getting quality education, others have been deprived of the fundamental human rights. Now, the United Nations Children Education Fund has said that more than 1.9 million children have been affected by a 13-year-long armed conflict in northeast Nigeria. On International Children's Day of Education, themed Learning for Lasting Peace, Educators seized the opportunity to call on the government to make education accessible to all, particularly for those in conflict zones. Now, News Central's Omolola Ololade tells us more.
Education is an important and integral part of a child's development as it provides chances for academic, social and economic growth.
Something in future. You need education to help you. And education is life.
Education is life, and I want to become better in future. I want to become a teacher.
In essence, investing in child education not only benefits the individual, but the society at large as a result of the person's contribution to the community through his or her career path. For teachers and educators who make these students' dreams a reality, they emphasize the privilege to impact lives while highlighting some of the major challenges faced in the course of performing their duty. They believe the role of education in a child's life can never be overemphasized.
You learn, education brings about an opportunity to learn, unlearn, and even relearn a lot of things, even as life goes on. In some areas too, they don't believe in maybe educating girls. Education cuts across all sexes, all races, all tribes, all ethnicities. So we should encourage education.
The parents wouldn't understand at the beginning. It's like they are in a hurry, they want the child to have known, they try to compare one child with the other, not knowing that each of them are different and they all have different starting points and they are going to different places. Those are the challenges we face.
In some climes, children have been deprived of this fundamental human right. According to UNICEF's most recent data, 430,000 children affected by the Boko Haram conflict in Nigeria have no access to education. 56% of displaced children across Borno, Adamawa and Yobe State still do not attend school. The conflict, which has uprooted millions of people from their original homes, has left 1.3 million conflict-affected boys and girls without access to primary quality education. Educators, however, focused on the role of education in fostering peace, especially in the northeastern part of Nigeria.
Education is a fundamental human right for all children. And as you can see here in this classroom, these are children enjoying the privilege of education regardless of their socioeconomic status. But unfortunately, in far northern part of Nigeria, some students can't enjoy this privilege, especially as they are affected by insurgency or other circumstances.
Especially in the northern part of the country, children are unable to go to school. Children are unable to learn. If we give them the right education, if adults are intentional about helping the children learn empathy, learn love, be united, and know that everyone must be included, then they can live in peace.
Education plays a vital role in the long-term development and healing of communities recovering from insurgency or conflict. Hence the call on the government and all relevant stakeholders to build, rehabilitate, and reopen schools throughout the northern region to facilitate access to education for all children. In Lagos, for News Central, Omolola Ololade.
Coming up on the news, 6 sentenced to death for 2021 Ghana coup plot. Of course, we have details of this story and more after now.
With about 208 million
NC Continental Prime continues in West Africa, where 6 Ghanaians, including 3 soldiers, have been convicted and sentenced to death by hanging for their involvement in an alleged plot 3 years ago to overthrow the government. The men were arrested in 2021 while testing weapons at an old shooting range in Accra. And intelligence telephone taps led to a blacksmith shop where they ordered the weapons manufactured, according to court documents. They all pleaded not guilty during the trial, but police posted a heavily armed unit outside the High Court for the hearing and sentencing. The High Court, however, acquitted a police chief, that's Benjamin Agozo, Army Officer Colonel Samuel Kodzo Gamali, and also 1 junior military officer, Corporal Saidu Abubakar. In East Africa, thousands of people protested in Tanzania on Wednesday against proposed changes to electoral laws, the largest public demonstration since the government lifted a ban on opposition political rallies a year ago. Tanzania's main opposition party, Chadema, organized the rally in the main city of Dar es Salaam as lawmakers prepared to debate next month a rift of contentious electoral reforms proposed by government. Tanzania is scheduled to hold its first presidential elections in 2025 since the death of John Magufuli in 2021 led to his deputy Samia Suluhu Hassan becoming president.
The cost of living has gone very high. I'm giving an example of sugar. The price of sugar, like a month ago, was 3,000 shillings. Like, is it $1 or $2? Now it's almost double the price. The cost of transport from one place to another has gone very high. It is very difficult for ordinary people to have 3 meals per day. Even 1 meal per day is very difficult.
Sikia furaha sana kwa sababu mawazo yetu yanakwenda kwa mwananchi mmoja mmoja, kwa sababu vyombo vya habari pamoja na askari wanatulinda, tuna amani, tuna furaha kwamba hii ndio demokrasia.
Tumembeleza kwa miaka 30, tumeomba kwa miaka 30, sasa tutadai barabarani.
The Comoros Supreme Court has confirmed the re-election of President Azali Assoumani, whose victory in a disputed vote last week was followed by deadly protest. President of the court's Constitutional and Electoral Section, Rafiq Mohammed, says Assoumani won with 57.2% of the vote, revising the victor's previous score downward slightly while greatly boosting a strangely low turnout figure, as opposition leaders rejected the results, describing the vote as fraudulent. But the court dismissed the inadmissible lawsuit seeking its annulment. Last week, after the vote, the Comoros capital, Moroni, was paralyzed by 2 days of running street battles between stone-throwing youths and armed soldiers, as medics say at least 1 person was fatally wounded.
Azali Assoumani, 99 541, soit 57,2%. Daoud Abdallah au premier tour, considérant que le candidat Azali Assoumani a recueilli la majorité absolue des suffrages exprimés, qu'il y a lieu de le déclarer élu au premier tour de l'élection présidentielle du 14 janvier.
In the meantime, opposition candidates in the Comoros has rejected the results of the presidential elections, which saw the victory of the incumbent Azali Assoumani. This comes a few days after clashes in the capital following the announcement of the provisional results last week and Wednesday's affirmation of Assoumani's victory by the Apex Court.
Parce que j'avais dit que si la Cour s'amenait à valider des résultats fabriqués qui ne reflètent pas la réalité du scrutin, nous serons dans l'obligation de ne pas reconnaître ces résultats. Et chose promise, chose due, moi je ne reconnais pas ces résultats et je demande à mes électeurs de ne pas les reconnaître aussi. La démocratie, c'est le peuple. J'ai été candidat pour le peuple, j'ai été élu par le peuple, donc je me considère élu par le peuple et j'estime que le 26 mai, il y aura plusieurs investitures parce qu'on ne va pas se laisser faire. Nous allons lutter et combattre jusqu'à ce que défendaient ces jeunes musulmans.
Nearly 3 decades after the genocide in Rwanda, the bodies of the victims are still being found. Around 100 volunteers, many wearing face masks and rubber gloves, turned over the red soil in Ngoma village with a somber determination as a crowd watches on from a slope above. Scores, teeth, and other shreds of bones are placed carefully into plastic bags, while shoes and tattered clothing, possibly clues to identify loved ones, were never found, are collected elsewhere. Naphtali, a president of the Genocide Survivors Group, Ibuka, says the remains of 119 people have been unearthed over 3 days.
twagerageje gusa kuganiriza abantu tubabwira tuti twebwe ibyabaye byarabaye ko umuntu uza ahantu umuntu yaba ari natubwire tujye dukura abantu mu mirima yanyu mwe kubahingiraho ariko birabaje imyaka 30 kubona tugisanga hari abantu bubakiweho amazu biradukomeretsa bikadusubiza hasi. Umwana icyo gihe wari uruhinja bafite imyaka 30 umwereka ngo dore umubyeyi wawe sogokuru wawe dore aho tumukuye muri toilette y'umuntu n'ibintu bishinyagura.
Imirambo myinshi hano ni ugusubiza abantu inyuma kuko batigeze batubwiza ukuri y'ibyo bakoze kandi turi kumwe nabo, ntabwo bigeze bagaragaza ukuri ibi bintu byakoze. Aha hose ubona bagenda bataburura abantu ni ukugenda abantu bahiga nk'aho urabona bahashenye inzu barabubakiye hejuru kandi babizi. Ni ikintu gisubiza abantu inyuma.
Au premier coup 39 corps et pour le moment on a encore d'autres informations. La raison pour laquelle on a commencé à chercher encore des corps enterrés sous la maison et la toilette d'après les informations déjà données par l'employé de cette famille.
Southern Africa, Zambia has postponed the start of the school year for the second time due to a cholera outbreak that has claimed more than 500 lives. Schools were initially due to open on the 8th of January, but last week the government moved the date to 29th of January. On Wednesday, the government announced a further delay, citing a growing number of cases. Zambia has been battling the spread of the deadly disease since October. Health Minister Sylvia Masebo says 438 new cases and 6 deaths were recorded over the past 24 hours, bringing the total death toll to 518. Cholera is contracted from bacteria generally transmitted through contaminated food or water. The White House says Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi rebels fired 3 missiles at 2 merchant ships in the Red Sea on Wednesday in their latest attack in the commercially vital waterway. The report comes after the Houthis vowed to keep up their attacks despite repeated U.S. and British strikes against them. National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby said 1 missile missed its target and a U.S. Navy destroyer shot down the other 2. Now, Kirby added that the continuing Houthi action means they are obviously still going to have to do what they have to do to protect their shipping.
That's what I know. It's obviously underscores that the Houthis still intend to conduct these attacks, which means we're obviously still going to have to do what we have to do to protect that shipping. And yesterday, as I think you're all aware, in direct response to a series of escalatory attacks against U.S. and coalition personnel in Iraq.
Perpetua Fasami Peter has the day's business news.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money.
In business, Nigeria's Central Bank Governor Laimi Cardoso anticipates a moderation in inflation this year and has characterized the country's naira currency as undervalued. Speaking at the launch of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group NESG Macroeconomic Outlook Report for 2024, Cardoso expressed confidence in the nation's economic stability. He emphasized the importance of stabilizing macroeconomic indicators such as inflation rate, GDP growth, fiscal balance, and exchange rate, highlighting their crucial role in fostering economic recovery and laying the groundwork for long-term economic growth. Cardoso also outlined the central bank's policy direction for 2024, prioritizing price and exchange rate stability to promote sustainable economic growth and safeguard livelihoods. Additionally, he mentioned ongoing efforts to address institutional deficiencies, restore corporate governance, and strengthen regulations. In North Africa now, Egypt's economic growth is projected to decelerate due to the devaluation of its currency, inflation eroding purchasing power, and impact of the Gaza crisis on vital foreign currency sources. The recent Reuters poll highlighted the Suez Canal's revenue decline of 40% in early January following sea attacks, alongside weakened tourism prospects due to the Gaza crisis. Moody's downgrade of Egypt's sovereign debt outlook to negative further underscores the challenges. The country's $3 billion IMF financial support package faced setbacks, prompting ongoing discussions to revive and potentially expand the arrangement. The poll forecast a GDP growth rate of 3.5% for the current fiscal year, down from earlier projections, with a subsequent climb to 4.15% in 2024 and 2025. Additional expectations for the Egyptian pound to weaken and inflation to ease were also outlined, reflecting the complex economic landscape. And finally, South Africa's consumer inflation decreased for the second consecutive month in December, dropping to 5.1% year-on-year from 5.5% in November, as per data from the Statistics Agency on Wednesday. This latest reading brings headline inflation closer to the midpoint of the central bank's 3% to 6% target range, specifically 4.5%, which the bank has indicated as the level it wants to see before considering interest rate cuts. Statistics South Africa reported that the average inflation rate for 2023 was 6%, lower than 6.9% in 2022, and that inflation is projected to average 5% in 2024. The South African Reserve Bank is scheduled to announce a monetary policy decision on Thursday, with all 20 economists in the Reuters poll anticipating that the main lending rate will remain unchanged at 8.25%. And that's offering on business news at this hour. Thank you for watching. I am Perpetua Fasami Peter. The news continues shortly. Bye for now.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money. Sports Update, brought to you by Corn Oil. Corn Oil, we go the extra mile.
It was a goalless encounter in the final Group E games of the African Cup of Nations in Côte d'Ivoire. Tunisia finished bottom of the group with 2 points, and they have now been eliminated from the tournament. Mali finished top of the group with 5 points, while South Africa finished with 4 points. Both teams have now sealed qualification to the round of 16. We are now joined live by News Central's Favor Tour for more updates. Thank you so much for your time, Favor. All right, Favor, I mean, another day of African football, and we witnessed the first goalless encounter of the tournament. What do you make of the final games in Group E?
Yeah, the final games in Group E gave us something we're not used to since the start of this tournament, which of course is a goalless draw. I mean, this is the first time in the African Cup of Nations this year that would not have a goal score, at least a goal scored in a game. And they gave us both of them goalless draw. But the important thing to note is the fact that Namibia qualified for their first ever round of 16 appearance. I mean, joining Mauritania, who did theirs just yesterday. It was a beautiful one for Namibia. They were qualified as one of the best third-place team. For South Africa, they drew that game. Also, of course, they also joined as part of the second, team in that particular group. And not forgetting Mali, who went on unbeaten in the group to top the table. I mean, the Nations Cup has, ensured that we see upsets. For instance, Tunisia have been knocked out of the tournament. I mean, Tunisia won the Nations Cup in 2004. In 2019, in Egypt, Tunisia were fourth best placed team after Nigeria defeated them for bronze. And it seems the Nations Cup is no respecter of teams, despite their pedigrees in the past. Everyone wants to play football, and the best team over time in the last few weeks have get the better result.
Now, Tunisia is another big team to crash out of the competition. Are the minors really catching up, or the big guns are not just getting things right with their football?
Well, I think Dapo is in two ways. First of all, the minnows, they have decided to take the game by storm. A lot of them have gone back to the drawing board. They've tried to invest in their football system, going to the grassroots, having a 4-year plan. Some of them are having an 8-year plan, coming into the Nations Cup to get the very best of the Nations Cup. While, of course, for the big guns, some of them are, looking at the stars they have in their team. And with what we've seen so far, stars no longer play football, in Africa. African football is different from European football. We call it in pidgin, jambody kind of football, which is, of course, a physical kind of football. So I think it is in both ways. So teams have decided to improve in terms of the lower ranked teams. Why for the bigger boys, they are relying mostly on their stars and not a team effort. Look at how the lower teams have qualified. It's more of team effort. You barely cannot mention, stars in the team. You see how they defend together, they attack together. That is what is needed. And the AFCON, it's not just about being, the best team on paper. It's just about playing your best game and getting the result, and also pray for luck. I think that's what has happened so far in the tournament.
I mean, at this stage, will it be a difficult round of 16, or the men will really be separated from the boys?
Well, for the round of 16, I also anticipating an upset. The round of 16 is an anybody's game. Don't forget there'll be introduction of penalty. Also, we get to see, teams also try to do the unthinkable. For any team that has been able to qualify to this round, they will look at it that they have an opportunity to get to the quarterfinals. I'll still go back again to the vision aspect, all die and die. So you just have to take it a game at a time, bring your A game, bring your arsenals. I think it's going to be, not a stroll in the park. And then instead of, separating the boys from men, it might just be what we saw in the group stage. The smaller teams also causing an upset and ensuring that they make history for themselves. We might also see what we saw at the World Cup where Morocco went all the way to the semi-finals. Maybe we could just see it for a new team like Namibia, Mauritania, amongst others, who will just qualify to the semi-finals or the finals. It's possible.
All right, Favor, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Dapo.
Sports Update brought to you by Corn Oil. Corn Oil, we go the extra mile.
On entertainment tonight, famous superstar Burna Boy reaches new heights on Billboard's Hot 100 charts. And Bobby Wine, the People's President, bags a nomination in the Best Documentary category at the Academy Awards. On the international scene, Dwayne Johnson joins WWE board and gets ownership of the Rock name. Sam Dandy has more.
Entertainment news in association with Glow Unlimited.
And now in Entertainment Continental Prime, Burna Boy continues to make waves as Just Like Me, a track by 21 Savage featuring Burna Boy and Metro Boomin from the album American Dream, debuts at the 67th spot on the Billboard's Hot 100 chart. Now this achievement ties Burna Boy with Thames, both holding the record for the most charting songs by African artists on the Billboard's Hot 100. Burna Boy now boasts 5 songs on the chart, including Taliban 2, Loved by You, Sitting on Top of the World, featuring 21 Savage, Last Last, and the recently added Just Like Me. Additionally, Burna Boy has secured 10 Grammy nominations, making him the Nigerian artist with the highest Grammy nominations. He's set to perform at the live show on the 5th of February this year. His remix of Do I with Fino has also claimed the #1 spot on Apple Music Nigeria. The nomination of Bobby Wine, the People's President, for the Best Documentary Feature Film at the 96th Academy Awards is significant for Uganda on several levels. First and foremost, it brings global attention to the ongoing political challenges faced by the Ugandan people, shedding light on their quest for democracy and social justice. The documentary focuses on the resilience and strength of the Ugandan people, particularly through the lens of Bobby Wine's attempt to challenge President Yoweri Museveni's long-standing regime during the 2021 presidential election. By gaining international recognition through the Academy Awards, the film amplifies the voices of those fighting for democracy in Uganda on a global stage. The nomination also serves as a reminder of the importance of freedom of expression and political engagement. Bobby Wine's story, captured in the documentary, becomes a symbol of the ongoing struggles against oppressive regimes, inspiring others around the world who are facing similar challenges.
Why is my husband held in a military barracks? If I could see him, then I would know what I am actually dealing with.
And finally, on the international scene, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has been appointed to the board of directors. Sam Dandy, back with the rest of the news.
Entertainment news in association with Glow Unlimited.
And that's a wrap on the news at this time. But before we go, another look at some of our top stories. We told you that Ondo State Governor Aiyedatiwa has dissolved the State Executive Council and made key appointments. 6 sentenced to death for 2021 Ghana coup plot. And we also told you that Zambia has further delayed school reopening over cholera. Don't forget to send in your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. You can also follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch us live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Dapo Adegboye.